Welcome to Blue Collar Startup episode. I don't even know what episode we're on. 20-something.
21.
21?
I believe it's 21.
Something. In the 20s. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there. That's right. Someone told me we'll be magically rich at episode 100.
Yeah.
That's when everything just, it's like the money fairy just shows up and says, you've done 100 podcasts. Here you go. I'm your co-host, I should say, Mike Nelson, here with visionary founder of Blue Collar Startup, Derek Foster.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Derek, I'm fantastic.
Good.
How are you?
Doing well.
That's good.
Did you have a good week? Are you having a good week?
Time is flying by, guys. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I literally, when you guys walked in, I'm like, oh my God, it's 2:00. My whole life, I feel that way, where it's like, I said to Kelsey, our lead designer, this morning, talking to her about something, and she said, well, tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, tomorrow's Friday. Like, today's Thursday already.
Yeah.
I thought it was Tuesday or Monday. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's another day closer to Monday.
Wow, we're just so cranking busy right now and short staff, so it's like...
It's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I'm grateful for the business, especially considering what's going on in this crazy world around us, man. So
absolutely.
And marketing's always the first thing that people cut when things get rough. So I kept waiting for the shoe to drop, and it hasn't.
Yeah, it's one of those things, though. If you don't market, then you got to stay top of mind.
I just put an article about this in Q4 magazine about the fact that what typically happens in markets like we're seeing right now is that they've staffed up. They got all this operational staff. Things get a little tough. They start looking at light items. What can we get rid of? Well, get rid of that sales and marketing line. And then what they should do is they should start kind of looking at their operational staff. Like, are we fat here? Do we need to thin that out a little bit? Because sales and marketing is what you need to get more clients. But what they do is they cut sales and marketing, and then they end up still making those cuts to that operational staff in another 3 months. They just kind of stave off the process. It's like, no, man, if things are going down, you need more sales, you need more marketing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm biased. Anyway, we're here today with Brad Lewis of Lewis Landscape and Hardscapes.
Close.
Yeah. I knew I was going to mess it up.
That's all right.
Brad Lewis Lawn Care Masonry. There's actually...
I said hardscape.
Yeah,
that's because it's on your shirt.
Well, we do hardscaping. No, there's a guy, Mike Lewis from Saratoga, actually. He's got Lewis Landscape Solutions, so it's it's important to get that one right.
Yes, it is. All right, so one more time then. It is Lewis
Lawn Care Masonry.
Lawn Care and Masonry.
That's right.
That's who you should be talking to, guys.
I'm pretty excited. I booked this probably, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah, it was busy hardscaping season this year.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to it. Brad's got a great story. And
yeah, I know. We were talking beforehand. You said some amazing things, and I was like, oh my God, I got to remember a question to come back and get you to say that stuff again, man. That was like, I think every kid in school right now or getting ready to go to school should hear what you have to say. So I'm excited about it too. So Thanks for coming, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Why don't we start out? Just, tell us a little bit about you and your business, what you do.
Right. Yeah, so, we kind of have a couple different businesses, but, our primary business, Lewis Lawn Care Masonry, I started when I was actually in high school, and I just kept going, and it kept evolving, but we essentially, my brother and my sister mow lawns. They have they have a route each, and then we have 6 employees on top of that handle the masonry and hardscaping side of the business. And the reason the name's so confusing because right now my shirt says Lewis Masonry Hardscaping, kind of pivoting away from the lawn care part of it. It's just not really my passion anymore.
Yeah.
It's not really where, it's kind of hard when people call you and they're upset about their lawn, and I just don't have that fuel to really engage with the conversation. Sure. Where there's some people who really want to do that. And in fact, old employees or ex-employees of mine who have started their own businesses, cutting grass. It's been great just feeding them the leads and feeding them the clients that are just not a good fit for us anymore. So we're doing masonry and hardscaping, and we're still holding on to the lawn mowing clients that my brother and my sister want to service.
So how did you start this in high school?
Easy question. My mom kind of said to us, if you want to do field trips, you want new sneakers, you want new clothes, you want a new skateboard, you have to go make money. So I was 15, and my neighbor across the street, Bob Connolly, he printed off flyers for me, probably 500 of them, and I was a paper boy at the time, so I delivered the paper and I delivered the flyers as well at the same time. And it just said, I just stole somebody's Yellow Pages ad that said all the things we did. I was an imposter as soon as somebody said, "Oh, you do stump grinding, great." And I'm like 15, I can't drive to their house, you know. So I said, "Oh, okay, I better actually think about what I do."
Yeah,
because I just said I'd do anything. And just because, you know, I wanted to get a new pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
Kids were saying, "Hey, how come you don't have Nike?" You know, and I'm like, "Oh man, I got to figure out how to get a pair of Nikes." You know, it's like,
listen, as a guy that grew up pretty poor and was getting his sneakers from Zales, if you remember Zales,
yeah.
And having to go into gym class where all the guys were wearing Nikes and I'm rocking that, I forget what we even called them back then. It was just like, you know, again, poor kid. So I get it, man.
Yeah. So I just decided, hey, you know, I'm going to hustle all summer long. You know, I was doing the paper route. I was trying to make up the hours otherwise. And then I worked with a guy over the summer, every summer throughout high school, doing masonry work. So he had me at 13, 14 years old going up the scaffold, bringing cinder blocks to the top, mixing his mud, getting yelled at for being too hard, being yelled at for being too wet. You know, it's like you could never win.
Yeah, yeah.
So
taught you a couple things, though,
yeah, for sure. You know, we've done some pretty cool projects. You know, it's like, you know, the Harmony Mills building.
Yeah,
it was falling down a couple of years ago. We rebuilt a lot of the top of it. You know, it's kind of cool driving by a big historic building like that.
Yeah.
Or 90 State in Albany, we redid all the parapet walls and like hanging over the side of the building, repointing it. So it's like kind of cool. You learn when you're young and you do some really cool stuff. That, you know, in contracting, everybody's like, I work there. You know, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool to be a part of building stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Whatever it is, man. Building.
I would not want to hang off the side of that building. I'll tell you.
These guys, he's probably one of these crazy guys that loves that stuff, man.
I don't, honestly. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I wanted the big job doing the parapets because it was on the roof. You didn't have to hang over the side.
Nice.
There you go.
But they said, "Oh, there's a stair crack hanging over the edge," and I'm like, I don't know how I'm getting over there. And so I threw a super high number, and they said yes because they couldn't find anybody willing to do it.
That's how you make money. Do things nobody else wants to do. Right?
But then, you know, I think Tri-City Scaffold, they did all the scaffold for us. And then they even gave me one of their scaffold operators to work with me. And he was getting paid by the day. And I was like, whatever he gets, it's fine. I think it was like $800 for him to just hang out with me. And then while we were up there, he's like, "Hey, can I learn too?" You know, so he was operating this thing. It just like went up on cables. And then we got there and he's like, "Hey, if you got a second angle grinder, I'll grind out the joints with you." And so we ground out the joints and repointed, because we finished in 4 hours. He got paid the whole day as long as he got it done quick. So for him, he just wanted to get it done. It was only one little stair crack, but we had to get it done, and it had, you know. So. And
it was in a precarious position.
Yes, yeah, off somebody else's roof. They had to weld plates onto the existing structure and then hang an outrigger out that had the cables, and it pulled us up like a window washer.
Yeah.
Pulled us up to, I think we were like 16 or 17 stories high.
Nice.
I don't want to do it again now.
No, I'm not a big fan of heights, so I probably would have been a little sick.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm still very impressed by you starting the landscaping company in high school.
Yeah.
Like, all the kids out there need to hear, like, what was that like, and how did you, like, basically you went door to door, right? Which a lot of people are scared to do. But when it came to buying equipment, getting all the tools and resources that you needed to do the work, what did that process look like for you at that age?
Yeah, so I started when I was 15, so that's the fun part. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a license, and so I got a lawnmower from my mom's boyfriend's father at the time. And he's, you know, the game was if I did my mom's lawn, I could use the lawnmower for mowing people's properties. And then when they broke up, the father took the lawnmower away from me, so I had to go buy another one. So the neighbor across the street sold me his lawnmower. And
really? He took your lawnmower?
He took the lawnmower. I don't know. That's what happened.
There's a lot of great people in the world.
Jeez. Like 15, 16-year-old kids trying to hustle grass.
And man.
Nope. This is getting yanked away in a divorce settlement here.
That sucks.
Well, I mean, so the neighbor across the street sold me a lawnmower, and then I've never been one to really want to just like buy a bunch of stuff all the time. So I always had extra working capital saved up when things came up. So I lived pretty simply. And so whenever things broke or I needed something, I'd just buy it to do the thing, because I just wanted to pull myself out of having to be like hungry or having to wonder like, are we going to have a place to live? Because when I was in like 9 or 10 years old, that happened a couple times. We got kicked out of where we were living, moved in with our cousins, that kind of stuff. So,
Yep, I do.
So it's like, you just don't want to go through that again. And so I always been able to save and always have money for equipment if necessary. I think that's a big problem a lot of people have when they start their businesses. They think, the revenue is my profit, not
right.
As I can.
No, you didn't make $10. You grossed $10.
Right. And even employees think that, and that's hard when you're dealing with that mentality, because then they're struggling to reconcile the fact that they only make this much money, but bring a check back to the boss for 10 times the amount, not understanding, the numbers that go in between that. But yeah, so whenever something came up, I just had the money available because I was just a saver. That's it.
So after high school, or when you were running the business in high school, I mean, how many clients did you get up to? How many lawns were you mowing?
I think I had like about 14 or 15. So it wasn't terrible. Yeah. It wasn't like crazy. I mean, I think the height of our business, cutting grass, was probably like 300 clients is what we were probably doing, including a lot of Troy housing. So we're doing like Grizzle Heights, Taylor, the Taylor buildings that they're knocking down right now. We used to mow those, and we did a lot of big projects. But 15 are around when we were in high school. And then when I got into college, it probably got up to 30 or 40. And so by the time I graduated, I probably had 50, 60, and I started hiring employees.
Maybe I missed it, but how were you getting from job to job with your mower, man?
Right. When I was 15.
The old John Deere.
So you got to remember, my advertising was on my paper route. So I was able to walk everywhere where I got the clients.
Oh, that's smart.
And
that's smart.
And I lived on a hill, so I would actually get my skateboard and bring it with me and skateboard down the hill with the lawnmower and the weed whacker over the handle. And I'd get down to where I was mowing, I'd mow, and then I'd have the cash in my hand, which gave me the fuel to walk back up the hill.
Right.
Same thing with snow, snow shoveling, same thing. We'd go door to door when the storm hit and just wait for somebody to look like their driveway needed to be done. And I've had one client since I was 15, so that's 21 years I've been shoveling this one lady's.
No kidding.
She's about 80-something right now. So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you keep saying we. Who was with you?
Well, so in high school, I had my buddy next door, Ryan. He would just come over and just tag along, help me out, that sort of thing. But mowing was primarily me, but snow shoveling was Ryan would always go with me and just tag along. Then we get Chinese buffet.
Nice. That was all you can eat?
It used to be, not anymore, but, across from Hudson Valley is a China Walk buffet. So we'd go up there after done snow shoveling. That was a tradition.
Chow down.
Yeah. So it still
That's
is.
Awesome.
After a night of snow plowing, I definitely ordered a General Tso's there.
A well-deserved order of General Tso's. That's great. So now you were telling us a bunch of great stuff about going to college and kind of your experience there. Maybe, jump in. So you graduate high school and you still have this business and you go to school. You went locally to school.
Yeah, to College of St. Rose. Right?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that experience. What were you studying?
I studied business. So as soon as I got in, I almost immediately did the 5-year MBA program.
Okay.
They said, you just have to meet these certain criteria, and then within a year, you just start taking master's level courses that take care of some of the bachelor's level courses. And so, I went for my master's in business, and I ran cross country there, and that's really what drew me in. Was running. The coach had said, "We love you on the team," and made me feel wanted and affirmed. I was like, "All right, I'll do it." So I ran.
You're still running?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
What was your mile time when you were running cross country?
Track probably, right? 4:20, I think I ran best.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I had a 4:57. I'm like, let's see what this guy's got. 4:20, you asshole.
Funny story. I was telling Brad, my brother and I, we ran a half marathon a couple weekends ago, and we crossed it. We got it done in about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, you hear the announcer on the PA, "Oh, and here comes our winner of the marathon." Yeah. This guy almost lapped us.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Was it you?
No. No, I typically just do like 3 or 4 races a year. And honestly, next one's just Boston. Just
the marathon?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this will be my 10th time, I think, doing Boston.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What's your average mile time right now in a marathon?
In a marathon, probably 6:30, 6:15.
That's still great, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I ran in high school, did okay, and then didn't run for a long, long time. And now I'm running I just signed up for my first ultra, doing my first marathon this year.
Let's go.
Yeah, right. But I'm still like right now I'm running like 8-minute miles.
That's good.
On a 10 mile
That's good
pace. But not when I was, not when you're talking to 420, it's not good.
Wow.
But,
That's 1 mile.
yeah.
or even being in the 6s, I'd love to be back. I'd love to be back in the 7s. That's my goal right now. Is by the time I hit that marathon, that I'm running at least like 7 and change. We'll
It gets easier the more you do it.
It does. It definitely does. You gotta train, right? So 5-year MBA.
Mm-hmm. Then I graduate, and then I say, okay, I'm ready to take on the world.
Yeah.
And 2009 housing crash, bubble, whatever, the Great Recession, right?
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of internships, and I just never really loved any of them. And then they wanted to pay me like $40,000 or something to graduate with an MBA.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I was told all through school that this is a $100,000 a year path, and right out of school you're getting $100K.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the recession happens, and I think at that point I was probably making about $80,000 doing my landscaping and snow plowing and masonry work. And so I was like, I'm going to make double if I just keep doing this business. And don't get me wrong, like going to school definitely helped with doing things like cost accounting. Every class I had a project for was something I'd just throw the business at,
Mm-hmm.
So we had Excel spreadsheets, we had Excel class. I would, come up with like algebraic equations on square footage of lawn and how much it would cost with the fixed component plus this.
Yeah, so now your job costing, learning how to
all that stuff. And so I didn't waste it during that time, but at the same time, like I was like, there's no need to go work for somebody else if I'm making this much money. And I feel so satisfied being outside or using my hands instead of being in the office, being forced. I mean, me and my wife talk about it now. Like, if I need to take time off or take a week off, I can just take a week off. Working for yourself, if you work for somebody else, you really have to ask for it.
You have to get permission.
You have to get permission, yeah. And if you can get 4 weeks off a year, somebody thinks you got it going on. And work for yourself, if you want 4 weeks off, well, you just make less money, but you can have that time to spend with your kids, you go on vacation, that sort of stuff. So I graduated college and almost immediately thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing this business. So I also, was thinking about being a teacher, and I got into the PhD program at SUNY Albany, but it was like, I didn't feel like it was a great fit for me. They were given full rides to these people that were coming from all over the place. And I said, geez, you guys, I'm from Troy. Albany's over here. Right. You won't give the guy from Troy the full ride, and you're making me pay to study with you guys, but everybody else goes in for free. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was a good fit, so I just didn't go back, for my PhD, which would have let me be a professor and to teach kids, at a college level.
So I think you were saying you were doing some tutoring and things like that, and teaching economics or something. Yeah,
for 7 years I tutored business students at St. Rose. It was a good gig because, again, I would sit there in an open lab setting. Kids could come in when they had questions, and if they didn't come in, I just did my invoicing for like when you cut. You got to send your invoices out. I'd send out the new contracts to people, and I could do whatever I wanted while I was waiting if students didn't come. And then towards the end, the last year, they asked me if I wanted to stop tutoring and be an adjunct economics professor. And so I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then they required me to get a PhD again. So I went back a second time, and I started attending classes to get the PhD to teach further. And again, I just looked outside and said, I belong out there. I belong using my hands. It just felt so suffocating, to be honest, to be stuck inside and not actually seeing what you create every day.
And just to clarify, the entire time you're doing all of this, you're still running your business. Oh, yeah. Still doing everything.
Say, you're an underachiever.
Yeah, man, get some work ethic, would you?
I know. The crazy thing here is I tell some of my guys sometimes, they sort of measure their life. They're like 20 years old. Mm-hmm. They're measuring their life against mine, and I'm like, I had one 20-year-old guy tell me, he says he feels burnt out. He needs a month off from work. I'm like, you're burnt out. It's there. You got to have that drive. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
But I was working still 40 hours a week for a pizza company at the time while doing all that. Yeah.
So you're working 40 hours a week for a pizza company, running your business, and going to school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was crazy.
And running a 4-minute mile.
And I thought you were a machine. This guy, I think, might put you to shame there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was a good thing I always dated girls long distance because I didn't have to hang out
You
with
didn't have any time, right? Oh, man. Good for you, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of effort.
Mm.
When did you sleep? We had the conversation about when I sleep. When did you sleep?
Yeah. I feel like I listened to one of the podcasts you guys had, and they were like, "What's your routine?" It's like back then in college, I definitely don't have that routine now, but in college, it was you have to. What I did for the pizza company, I opened them up 7 days a week, and I went to all their stores and unlocked all the doors and turned the pizza ovens on and brought all the pizza dough and stuff from one location that they made it at to all their individual locations. They put their orders in the night before. So it was like 7 days a week. I would do it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? And then I delivered pizzas Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. And it was like a 10-hour shift, an 8-hour shift, and a 10-hour shift.
Yeah.
So it was about 40 hours total. But then, I'd schedule my classes around it. Like on Fridays, I did the 8 to 11:30 class, and that way I could work 12 to 11,
So who was doing all the mowing blows?
Well, you got to remember, you don't mow in school year typically. You only have only September,
you got a little bit of
October.
overlap in the fall, a little overlap in the spring.
But, so then, I didn't work Monday through Thursday at the pizza place after work or anything like that. So my classes typically, college is great because you only have to go for like 15 credit hours a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have, if you think of it like a traditional 40-hour job, you have 25 extra hours that you're either at the library or some kids are partying. I didn't do that.
I was going to say, you obviously were not spending time in the bars drinking.
And that's like the exact point, right? If you use college for the right purpose, it can be, absolutely life-changing. But, if you go there for the wrong reasons, you're not going to get a lot out of it.
I think kids use college as an extension to their childhood, and they don't like
to prevent adulthood.
Right.
It's like a syndrome. It's oncoming adult syndrome.
I mean, even at minimum wage, if you take those extra 20 hours, you make what, $300 a week at 52 weeks. You're gonna make $16,000 a year.
Yeah.
And you maybe don't have to pay as much. Like that's more than Hudson Valley's tuition. I feel like I don't exactly know what Hudson Valley's tuition is, but in SUNY Albany, in-state tuition, you don't have to have student loan debt if you don't want to. But
for their automotive program, I think Matt Perry, it was $12,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
No,
it's a part-time job if you don't want to party.
Yep.
Yeah, come out of school with no debt, or come out of trade school with no debt. That's amazing.
So, where are you at today? What are you doing now? Fast forward. I know your business has evolved over the years.
Yeah. So, what feeds my soul, so to speak, when I go to work is just creating. I think that's what I really love to do. Our business right now is about half as big as it was before the pandemic. We had like 15 people working then. Now it's about 8. We rehab houses in the wintertime. We do hardscaping. We did some decks this year. We do, concrete, so brick, block, stone, sidewalks, foundations, chimneys, that sort of stuff. But, just feeling like I'm part of the solution to the housing problem is definitely like where my mission is. And I think that's, you have to have purpose in whatever you're doing. So for me, my purpose is just knowing that people's houses aren't crumbling. And every year we onboard 2 new apartments because we buy 2 families and we rehab them. So, it's like 2 new apartments, 2 apartments that people want to live in. I mean, I have people that text me and say, "Wait, when your next apartment comes up, let me know." And I have a waiting list, but just
right and unofficial, right?
Yeah, it's unofficial. I mean, I'm not like a big housing community that's like Section 8 vouchers waiting to get on there. It's not like that, but. So that's sort of where we are. Like today, I was working on the rehab house that we're working on. Kind of hard to do like concrete when it's going to freeze at night. You can if you use the right additives and stuff like that. But we're kind of shut down and waiting for the snow, and we'll be working inside.
Yeah, I'm gonna yell at my contractor because he's pouring footings at my house right now.
Well,
We're like, hey, listen, I just talked to Brad Lewis, and he said you're an idiot.
Yeah, that's below grade though too. So the ground geothermal.
That's true. Yeah, All
They have
right.
blankets and such. That
Yeah,
you
yeah.
put on it.
I don't see any blankets out there.
Yeah, you might be surprised.
Well, I will be if it works. I guess now that I've talked to Brad, I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, it's been 50 degrees, so we've been pretty
No,
spoiled.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, the poor guy was out there digging in the rain the other night. I'm like, bro, what are you doing here right now?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to get it done.
Well, I do appreciate. I mean, again, I think I appreciate work ethic just like I know you guys do. I see. I'm like, I hate that he's out there, but at the same time, I'm like, good for you, bro. You gotta get after it, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one's handing you nothing, or they shouldn't be anyway.
No, definitely not.
So you got 8 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at in the business right now?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Well, I work right with them every day. If I'm not going to a site where maybe only a couple of guys are and coaching them, it's just doing the work with them.
Because you enjoy it.
I love it. Yeah. As much as you, a lot of people think that they're going to build a business, sit back and let it just run itself. And maybe people can do that. But I have a hard time believing that's possible in sort of like a contracting setting like masonry or hardscaping. Because once you get a guy who's capable to put together, like we just finished a patio. It was like a $60,000 backyard patio.
Mm-hmm.
And, once you get a guy that's capable of doing that whole project all by himself and, his margins before labor are say 70%, right? And he can just do it himself, go rent the excavator, rent the skid steer, whatever tools he needs, he can buy them with just that project. So it's hard to say to a foreman, you're just going to run my jobs and I'm going to sit back and do nothing. You always have to add value somewhere.
Yeah.
But I like creating, I like building. So it's like I could just, I guess, sit back and collect rent money and just cut back on my expenses and then just live, I guess.
Where's the fun in that? I'm with you on, I don't understand the mentality of wanting to do nothing. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's I guess it's one of the reasons why I have such a tough time going on vacation. And luckily I've got 4 kids. So when I go on vacation, it's not relaxing at all.
It's more work.
It's more work, 100%. And, but I talk to people and, I see the Salt Life stickers on people's cars and nothing against it, that you do you, that's all cool. But I'm just like, what would you do? Like, when you get bored just not doing anything and, how much TV can you watch?
Yeah. You guys familiar with the FIRE movement? The financial independence, retire early crowd?
No.
There's a huge movement. And I listen to these podcasts because I'm interested in finance, of course. And people want to save as much as they can and invest so they can retire and not work, or to call themselves work optional. And it's like
work optional. Okay.
Work optional, yeah. Or take a job that maybe doesn't maximize your pay, that fuels you better. But I just think that you're just made to do stuff, and if you don't do something, I feel like you're just going to cause yourself to fall into depression, almost like COVID.
I think that's why people get sick.
Yeah.
You get fat, you get unhealthy, you get sick, you get depressed, you get all these things going on there because I just think with, like, to your point, what you said earlier, without purpose, like, what are you doing? You got to have purpose. You got to be doing something.
Yeah, and my wife told me that if I didn't work 8 to 4, that I'd at least have to find a hobby that I wouldn't be able to.
That kept you out of the house.
I'm not allowed in the house between 8. I'm allowed to come home a little early once in a while, but 8 to 4, it's her domain. She wants her weekends to feel like everything's free, but she likes the structure. She likes to feel like there's differences in time. Like Monday through Friday is structured, and weekends are fun.
Yeah, yeah. I try to have fun on Saturdays, and when I say fun, I mean. That's when I'm doing all my chores around the farm. That's my fun.
Taking care of the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brewing cider.
Yeah. Hunting right now. We're still in hunting season. We just left rifling, so now we're into.
Do you sit on the back porch and?
No, I wish that.
No.
Kristen doesn't like hunting, so I get the agreement is if she doesn't really know about it,
it's okay.
So she doesn't want to see it. I mean, she sees me walking out into our property with my rifle and I'm in full camo and all that, but not off the back porch. That's my brother-in-law though. He keeps shooting them right off his deck. It's got 2 of the biggest deer he's ever shot in the last 2 years from his freaking deck. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, here I am schlepping around.
I haven't seen one yet.
Oh my God. Well, no, I mean, I know where all the deer are, the property, so it's just waiting for the right deer. So I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the fire movement, we'll have to look that up.
Yeah. It's wise in terms of like not spending beyond your means and trying to save.
Yeah, I like that.
But I almost think that movement has come to a realization. Now people are talking in that movement of like, what are you going to do with your second wave of life after you're not?
Yeah. You have to do something to occupy your time, period, right? And how are you going to occupy your time? Like, the idea of it kind of makes me a little crazy, I'm not going to lie. Because I just think that people, like, I think it's great, work, become financially independent, retire early, and then, like, make the world a better place by doing something that's good for your community. And, like, great, yeah, cool. So you're not punching a clock anymore, but instead you're doing this. I think that's great. But then just don't go sit on a beach and drink freaking Mai Tais. Like, that's such a waste.
They think they're gonna, but in 5-10 years, I think they fall into a place where they need to find something.
Yeah. Again, you can only drink so many Mai Tais.
Yeah. It's that world of unicorns and bubblegum. It doesn't exist. And the only way that you grow is by challenging yourself and changing.
Yeah. Well, and the world's such a crazy place right now that, like, I just hear that and I'm like, if you have financial means and you have time, you're obligated to do something to make at least your local community better.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just go sit on the beach. I'm sorry. Like, maybe in the 90s we could do that, but the world's such a freaking messed up place, right? Like, we go make it better. Like, go fix something.
Yeah, and for us, it's to preserve property. Like, we're super into. People think we're a little weird. We buy these houses and we'll go ahead and restore them back. Like, we spend a couple $1,000s getting a set of pocket doors in the last apartment we did to work. Yeah. Like, replace the glass, get them to work. And, like, it doesn't add rent, that money, But, in these old houses in Troy, like, the plaster is still there. Mm-hmm. They have plaster crown molding, but sometimes it's damaged. Luckily, we have a guy in town that actually knows how to replace
how to fix it. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like we'll spend the extra money to just, be good stewards of, the city's selling us these buildings dirt cheap.
Yeah, so man.
We'll fix them up. We'll fix them up right for them.
Might have to pick your brain on that next year.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you said something really cool there, too, about being a good steward. Mm. I think about that with our farm and about being a steward of the property and making it better and being a conservationist, so to speak, as far as like the deer population goes and the wildlife and then our farm animals and all those things. And I think anyone can be a good steward. You don't have to own a bunch of rentals or a farm. Like, you can be just a steward of where you live or of your business or, of the company you work at, even if you're an employee. Like, I think good stewards is what we need more of. So that's cool, man.
Integrity.
It's a big part of it.
Absolutely.
Just doing good stuff, make the world better instead of getting on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok or some shit. I don't know. Anyway. I've been watching too much news, I think. Yeah. Listening to too much Andy Frisella. You got to check him out. You might like him. He drops.
I never listened to too much of that.
I know. He drops a lot of F-bombs, but yeah. So you're working side by side with your guys, but that's by choice. Yeah. But you're not on every job. How many jobs do you have running simultaneously, you think?
Well, probably 2 or 3. It's not a lot. Because these projects are large.
Yeah, I would say that's enough.
I mean, this year has been like that. The last couple of years, there's been a huge trend into backyard living spaces. Yeah. Where instead of doing like a couple $1,000 jobs in a week, one crew is on the same job for a couple weeks. Right off the bat this year, we did like 2 $40,000 patios, a $50, and then a $60, all to wrap up the year. It's like there's a large job and a lot of I mean. You see guys in Facebook in the Hardscape group, they're saying, how do I land more clients and stuff like that? And it's like, well, I feel like once you get there, people just want their patios done. Mm-hmm. And they're adding in lighting, so there's a lot of components. So a lot of crew members all on the same job. But then, then we still do the smaller ones where, we just send a couple guys out there. Yeah. Not really necessary for me to go, except maybe to answer a crazy question that we didn't know was going to come up. You need to coach. That's all.
Yeah.
So You had told me, Brad, one thing that I thought was very interesting, about you and your story and kind of your, how you see things. But I know you've had some guys that have worked for you, and, you mentioned earlier how, after a period of time they work for you and they may go off on their own and do their own thing. And, what is your view on that? Because I think it's important for everybody to hear, like, it's about building relationships and keeping those healthy. And it sounds like you do that with your guys and they respect you for that.
Yeah, some of them, of course, other ones are just mad that they don't own the business. It's, they want the money, but they don't want to do the work, right? Yeah. Some of them, there's always guys that want to go off and start their own business. And I just remember working for this one mason when I was like 16, 17 years old. And it was like pulling teeth just to get him to let me touch the trowel. Like, they just did not want me to do anything, as if I was going to steal the rest of their career from them. And I just don't believe it. I don't believe that's sustainable. I think smaller businesses, maybe you don't want competition, but there's just so much work right now.
There's so much work out there.
You were talking about marketing and being, being the first thing on the chopping block sometimes because people see a decrease in sales. I think for contracting right now, the only decrease in sales are going to be people who don't have name recognition or years in the game. Mm-hmm. I'm saying no on my phone all the time. People are calling me. I'm just sorry. I can't.
Oh yeah, no. Most contractors don't need any sort of marketing, and having that through COVID right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it's booming, and that was kind of what I was talking about. Is when things are booming and people don't need marketing. Yeah. And then they get fat operationally, or maybe they have marketing and, they're just kind of doing what they're doing. And then sooner or later, though, every industry turns. Mm-hmm. And then the thing about marketing is once you need it, it's too late.
Yeah. And you say fat operationally, and that's what's hard right now. Like 2 years ago, it was 15 guys. This year, it's 8 guys. And I lost 2 this past week. Guy come in Monday. So I had 10. I was like trying to build up my crew. Yeah. I had 10. One guy quits on Monday and the other guy didn't show up on Monday and just hasn't talked to me at all.
Sounds like you had a great Monday.
You hire people, you hire 3 to see if one sticks,
Yeah.
So, but you were asking about these guys that used to work for me. And, they want to go off on their own. And I just didn't believe into what that Mason was saying in that, like, not letting me learn, not letting me try. He could have used me for 2-3 years to make him a ton of money, and then I got confident enough to just go do it myself. Or what he ended up doing was I watched him for a long time and, wanted to poke my eye out with a pencil, basically, because I'm like, I could go way faster than this guy. I see it. I just want to do it. So my mom thought I was crazy, but I dug up the whole side of her house and I parged her foundation so I could practice parging. And then after I was done with that, I did the other side, and then I did inside her basement. I just resurfaced her whole basement just because I just wanted to know, like, how hard is this? Because it seemed like it took him forever to do it. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to do it, So that is a sort of like, I just didn't believe that mentality. I just don't have that scarcity mentality when it comes to work. I might have it when it comes to, like, the insecurities of growing up in poverty, but not like when it comes to work. I just don't feel like teaching somebody how to do something is going to cause them to steal your work from you.
Right.
So, for instance, I had one kid working for me, and he stopped working for me, but he started his own company, and he's now getting ready for snow plowing. And he's like, do you think it's smart if I put a plow in my truck? I go, not really. You're going to spend like $8,000 and you probably save 10 minutes of driveway.
Yeah.
But then I just bought a bunch of plows from the city on auction, and I resold one to him. And I'm like, I'll tell you how to put all the components on it together, and it's the same as my truck. So all you have to do is come down the street and check it out, and I'll tell you how to put it together. So instead of spending $8,000, he bought the plow for me for a couple $1,000, and then he just spent about $1,000 in parts and did the work himself.
Nice.
And every time he needed to check, he'd just drive down the street and we'd look at his setup, where he put his wires.
Yeah.
And he did have that problem where whoever sold him the electronic harnesses sold him just the wrong one, maybe on accident. I don't think the guy did it maliciously, but he sold him all his used parts, but one of the harnesses were not the right code, and we figured it out together. He bought the right one, and everything worked after that. But like now I have a guy who has a plow who, if I'm in a bind, I can say, hey, I'll pay you $75, $80 an hour to go plow these lots for me, you know? And why would he not say no? We already have the relationship.
Yeah.
So, you know, what else am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
You know, he's ready to go, and he's, you know, I feel good giving some knowledge to him, and he's got my back in case I need him. And,
yeah, man. It's, you know what I find too with people, I mean, a lot of people, young guys especially, think that they can do what you do and do it better. Right? Mm-hmm. And they can go out and start their own business.
That was me, right? With the mason. I can do this fast.
Yeah, maybe, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a condition of the young guy, right? And we need that in the world. But I think one of the important things to note is, and for everybody listening, like finding customers is not easy. Mm-hmm. You know, like the construction industry is in a point right now where everybody's got, like you said, you're turning business away. Mm-hmm. But like I've known plenty of people in other industries and even in the construction industry before things got where it is right now, that it's like people think they can do it and they can do great work, but then they get out there and you can't do any work until you find customers, and that's such a hard thing. What do you? I mean, you've been doing this a while, so you know you were doing what you're doing before the market became as crazy as it is right now. Like what have you done as far as finding customers and being that rainmaker, so to speak?
Yeah, so when we first started, the first thing that happened was on my birthday one year, my ex-girlfriend at the time, she had made me a website. So she pulls up the HTML and boom, it shows up. And she's like, this is your birthday present.
Sweet.
I made you a website. I was like, great, this is awesome. I didn't understand what it meant. So she was doing all the search engine optimization and stuff like that, and then registers Google and everything. And then I caught wind that you need to start getting reviews, right? So one of the biggest things we did, besides we got our uniforms, we got our trucks logos, we got the website, but getting the reviews helped raise your rank when people search for you. So I just started thinking like the end user, how are they going to find me? Because I think that's a big problem right now with all the guys with their, I call it the COVID money or stimmy money, right? They got money, they bought all the equipment, and now they're like, how do I get customers? Yeah. And the customers are calling me and I'm saying no, and they're, that's what they say. And I'm like, so you can't find anybody, can you? And they're like, no, where do they all go? And I'm like, they don't know how to raise their flag up and flag you down and say, hey, I'm here, I want to do it. So, they don't think like the end user and how am I going to get this person to come? They're just used to showing up on Monday morning and say, what do you want me to do? And they look, my employees do it all the time. They look at me, what do you want me to do today? Right. And you pick it. I'm selling my hours. I'm not,
Right.
So you have to now decide where you're going on Monday. And if you don't have work in three weeks, you need to make sure you are raising your flag before that time instead of sitting home idle. Yeah. So I think for us, the reviews are great. You type in Google every so often, landscaping, Troy, New York, or masonry, Troy, New York, and you're like, who's getting all my calls? Like, if they're going to call 3 people, why would they call me out of all these people on the list? And so just keep doing that. We did the little blogging, but to be honest, it was like I started not needing to, and probably failed at that, but it's okay. Who doesn't have a blog page that the last post was in 2014? Yeah,
that's 90% of everybody.
We blogged for 2 years. And then, Facebook posts and just not being annoying to people on Facebook and that sort of stuff, so that the content you create is, authentic, genuine, engaging, and not like, please hire me because I'm desperate.
Right, yeah.
I see guys do that. They go to their neighborhood Facebook groups and they're just like, we're looking for new clients. Hurry. And it's great.
Before it's too late.
Yeah, but it's great. But there's people in that community that are getting annoyed at the same time with you. So, so we do sort of organic marketing like that. Yeah. At this point.
Yeah. I think it's important though, like you're saying, they got to raise their flag and let people know they're there. You can't just expect, because you can't even just throwing a logo on the truck. You can't just throw a logo on the truck and think that your phone's going to blow up. I mean, maybe you'll get lucky. But
you got to put your phone number on there.
That's true. That is true.
So we're coming up on the end of the year. Any goals for 2023? You a goal setting guy?
I'm not as much as I probably could be. I really, I think about that sometimes, and it's like, for goals is to find peace and contentment. That's always, I think, my main goal. It's like some people set revenue goals, budget goals, and stuff like that. And I used to have that. I used to be like, okay, we're going to hit 1 million this year, you know, in sales. And I'm like, now it's just like, just feeling like the work that we do just has a meaning to it. You know, I hate the idea that you go and do something for somebody and then 5 years from now it's just a waste of your time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people will patch something up knowing it's going to fail and walk away. So like, I don't really set revenue goals anymore. What I'm really looking for is that peace, that like feeling like the customer really got everything they needed and I didn't steer them the wrong way. And this next year is supposed to be weird, isn't it? The economy is supposed to be funny.
A lot of unknowns.
Every day is weird, right?
Yeah, I know. But a lot of people are talking recession, and I don't know what that means. Maybe there's less people with home equity lines of credit to do large capital projects at their house. That might mean more repair work, and that might mean the guy that hasn't raised his flag up realizes I'm now going to aggressively market, and that means he's going to lose all his opportunity if he hasn't got his name out there now. Because like to your point, if I don't get leads coming in, I'm going to be pushing my name out there. I'm not saying no anymore. I'm going to be blasting sponsored ads on Facebook or that sort of thing.
I see a big shift in market share coming up for most industries, for sure. I think we're going to see a lot of market share shift to, again, whoever's being the most aggressive with brand awareness, lead generation, raising their flag up, like those are going to be the people that sustain and push through, and the people that aren't doing it, I think we're going to see them wither.
Yeah. Or maybe go back to being employees if that's
what
they're really geared for.
Yeah. It'd be a big shift for sure. Yeah. And I was wondering, you mentioned something too earlier about a pivot you're thinking about.
Yeah. So I think I talked a little bit about it, but we were doing a lot of lawns. It was last year, 2021, the Great Resignation. Everybody's switching their jobs around, and I just had the hardest time fulfilling all the lawns we were doing. Like I said before, we were at 15 when I was in high school, like 30 or 40 or 50 in college, and then we got up to 300.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, and so you guys know maintenance requires you to be on it all the time. You can't just skip a week, whatever maintenance is.
Right.
So, and I have kids, they're toddlers, like 2 and 3 right now, so 1 and 2 back then. Yep. And it was every Saturday and sometimes half a Sunday just to meet the demands of the client for cutting grass. And I couldn't say, I can't come today.
Right.
They will text you the next day and say, you did not come on your schedule.
Oh, yeah, I know. People's lawns.
You better be there. So I could never get to the real paying jobs, which are the masonry and hardscaping work. And I said to myself, well, why am I doing this? Why do I have to work Saturday and Sunday and miss my kids growing up? It's just not, like I said, I don't want that revenue goal. I want to be able to feel like I'm a good father. That's more important to me than making, and to be frank, I'm doing like 30 lawns and our minimum price is $50 a lawn. I'm making $1,500 on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. And like, it's just not where I want to be. I'd rather pay 2 guys to come in and do it like half the speed. Yeah. And cut the grass, but they just didn't exist. So we just let go of a lot of those clients, gave them to the guys that used to work for me. I sold leads to other people, It was like, I'll give your number out and you just drop off $10 a lead at my house.
An honor system, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then I just tell them, hey, look, I haven't seen you in a while, but I keep giving your number out.
Right.
Oh, I have $100 to drop off, But, so that's where I just started saying, look, I'd rather go for the quality, the stuff that really feels great, Lawns, you can let it grow for the whole year and then chop it down, or you can get some goats and they'll just eat it for you.
That's what I think everybody should do. I think I just posted on Facebook about that, actually.
But, when you're doing a sidewalk that lasts there 50, 60 years, it feels like it has more meaning. And that's really where I want my life to go. So we filed with the state and got the assumed name, Lewis Masonry and Hardscaping. We haven't fully switched over. I mean, that takes time. We have a website up for it, but, I want to get better pictures. And I don't need to go live on it right now. And there's just no need to do much. But at the same time, I'm working slowly towards it. So obviously our shirts and our hats have it. We're going to switch our trucks over, but leave a couple of them with the old grass logo. So, it'll be nice to just feel like I'm heading in a direction that fuels me better. Yeah.
That's kind of the evolution of your business, right? Like,
I think so.
And I mean, Derek, I out of anybody in the room, you feel that, right? Like as far as the evolution of the business, how it changes as you grow, and
yeah, you kind of you take what comes to you in a way, and similar to yourself, I have a 3-year-old at the house, and your
we
priorities.
All got 3-year-olds. Look at that.
Yeah. So your priorities start to shift a little bit, right? And figure out, well, how can I still accomplish what I need to accomplish, but be able to, be successful in the home life and everything else as well. And a lot of people don't talk about that. Everybody wants to brag about how they don't sleep and all that. And the reality is, I mean, you have to make time for that stuff, or else it'll go right by.
Right. Yeah.
Quick.
And then you missed all your time with your kids and just to try to build a business, but they don't even really want to be around you.
Yeah. What's the point? Right. That's what we just had a conversation with. We're in the middle of merging with another marketing firm, smaller firm, and the owner of that company was in today. We're talking about stuff, and we're just talking about some of our company values and what's important to us. And I was sharing the story with him. I'm like, well, I think that one of like my purpose, right? We talk about purpose being important, and my personal purpose with our team and with our clients and everything is just to foster freedom, right? And just to help people have the time, because working a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday sucks. It steals a lot of your time. So we had one of our reporters text me. He's like, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to get those articles up today. I got to go to the emergency room. It's like, hey, family first. Like, go take care of your family. Don't worry about getting stupid articles up on our website. Like, we'll get them up tomorrow, but it's like fostering that freedom and that ability for people to do that kind of stuff. But more to the point is putting it, you got to put your family first, right? And because that time's not coming back, man. Like,
I think similar to Brad, that was my thought process when I began the franchising side of it, because now I can take all the knowledge and what I've learned over the years and help other people do it, and similar to what you did with your former staff and giving them and passing them as you move on to the next evolution of your business. You get them the lawn care, you're helping them grow their business, and I think that's how it should work. It really should.
It definitely makes you feel like you're doing something.
Exactly. Yeah.
This year we did a men's retreat at my church, and they were talking about this sort of like thing where guys eventually become like sages, and they step out of like this warrior mentality and step back and start imparting their wisdom on the younger people. And like they're just talking about the stages in your life, and like as you get to certain places, you don't have to be like me and working 60, 70 hours a week in college when I had no kids, no family, no wife, none of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like I can step back and sort of just let these guys, go 100 miles an hour and chase down their American dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what the younger guys are for. They're there to they're there to go 100 miles an hour, so the old men like myself can slow down.
So you gotta earn that, and it happens over time, and with hard work, you gotta be able to get to that point. So, but a lot of opportunity out there for these young guys to step up, and
there's so much opportunity out there. In the trades especially. I mean, obviously, blue collar startups is what we talk about, right? But there's just, every time I turn around, I'm having a conversation with someone, and just like you said, there's just so much work out there. There's so much opportunity, And on that line, if you were gonna tell someone one thing, right, about maybe it's maybe it's a young kid, maybe it's someone that's already in a blue collar industry. Like if you're gonna tell them one thing about being successful in a blue collar business, what would you tell them?
I think a lot of guys try to do the get rich quick thing. They think they're going to give all their energy in 1 or 2 years, and like to my point before, they're going to achieve financial independence. They're going to retire early. I think doing it consistently over a long period of time, like even things like your network, your business, if you do 10 or 20 years of consistent work, consistently doing stuff, it gets so much easier for you. But you have to have that, persistence and that willpower to get through hard stuff, perseverance. It's, I say, like, just give it your all, but expect to have to do it a long time, and don't burn too hot. You know what I mean? Don't think you're just going to achieve success tomorrow. You kind of have to start. I mean, a lot of people in the blue collar industry that I see are like, how do I attract a huge commercial job?
Mm-hmm.
They start out their first year. How do I get a big commercial job? 140 units. I want to plow snow for this 140 unit apartment community. And it's like, you need to prove you can do it for a 6 unit consistently for 2 or 3 years. And then they tell their buddy at a real estate conference, look, this guy did it, and then you get a 12 unit, and then you get a 20 unit, and then they trust you with 140 people
you got
to work in the morning.
I happen to know a little about pushing snow because I did it, and I owned a company, and blah, 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 but like a 6 unit and 140 units, you're not even talking the same equipment, man. No. You're not a chuck in a truck anymore. You gotta are you right? I mean, that's what we used to call them, like, guys that were trying to do 140, parking lot or unit complexes, and they're trying to do them with a pickup truck. Like, hey, bud, like, you need to get yourself like a backhoe with a containment plow, like something, man. You're not, you can't do it with a truck and a straight blade.
The kids, they want, I say the kids, they're like 18 to 25 maybe, and they just want to buy their first truck and be a millionaire tomorrow. And and they say, where's all the people? Like, you hung your flag? Maybe they put their flag up, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But they're like, how do I get these big HOAs, these big, this, even with cutting grass, how do I get the big HOA to hire me to cut grass? How do I get the commercial people? And you're going to grow life, you're going to go through life with a real estate manager or something like that, or you're going to go through life with your buddy who went to college or high school with you, and he's going to get to his pinnacle of his career and need somebody that you've been doing it for 15 years, and he's like, this is a no-brainer. I know him. I trust him. He's been doing it. He keeps doing it, and he's doing it. So it's just have some perseverance. Don't try to go too quick, because when you start getting yourself on solid footing, you can really. It just becomes so much easier to have an established business and that sort of thing.
You got to pay your dues.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, can't just jump into that.
No. Any daily routines out of the ordinary? What's your day look like? Yeah,
well, I mean, out of the ordinary for most people, sure. Every day I wake up, it's 5:30. My kids get up at 7. I don't know if your kids have a little blue light that shines at 7 a.m., but my kids stay in bed till 7, and the light turns green. It starts blue and turns green. Then all of a sudden they go, light's green, come on in. So I have to get up at 5:30, half hour with coffee, and then a 40-minute run. So it's like 5 miles at Ford.
Nice.
40-minute run, shower, and then it's dad time from 7 to 7:45. Dad and mom, of course, but then I leave at 7:45 to go to work for 8. So it's pretty much Monday through Friday, unless it rains. I used to be super hardcore, but now if it rains, I'm like, I'll take that day off from running.
Oh, man.
But that 5:30 to 6, a lot of people don't know, but that's email time for me. That's scheduling time. Look over the schedule. What are guys doing? What are each crew doing? I used to get out of bed and go run right away, but the half hour, the coffee, and the just wrap my head around what the day's going to look like for everybody. If everybody shows up, then that's what the day's going to look like. I
get stuck on my couch right now. So I was getting up and drinking coffee. Like, I'd get up, all right, I'm going to have 1 cup of coffee, and then I'm going to go do whatever, And then maybe I'll have the second cup because it's nice and warm right here, and it's cold. And I had to stop. I got to go right outside now. Mm-hmm. And then coffee after.
Picked a great time to do 75 hard. The weather cooling off.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting in January, February. I can do it. So, I know we're getting close to the end of time here. How about if people want to find you? How do they get a hold of you?
You could Google Masonry in Troy, New York. I mean, my website's very long. The old one, Lewis Lawn Care Masonry.com. And then you got to type A and D out and spell masonry right, because there's only one A in masonry. It's not masonary.
Oh.
Believe it or not.
I would probably do that, actually.
It's easier to say masonry than masonry, but yes, it's masonry. It's the best when people start their business and call it Joe's Masonary.
Masonary.
Because it's not actually the name of the job you do, But it's LewisLawnCareMasonry.com, or you can Google it, Brad Lewis, Troy, New York.
All right. Any social media handles for you?
No, not really.
All right. Good for you, man.
Yeah. I mean, we have Facebook, that's it, but I don't spend too much energy on it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth it anymore, but
it will be if things get hard,
That's true. Yeah, you gotta have it. You gotta have it before you need it. Mm-hmm. That's the key on that stuff, I guess. Thanks for coming up, man. Really appreciate the
your
time.
Brad.
Appreciate the story.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everybody for listening. So we're trying something new too. If you have any questions, or we're trying to turn this into more of a two-way conversation with our listeners. So if you have any questions about anything on the episodes, shoot an email out over to Derek and myself at hardhat@bluecollarstartup.io. That's hardhat at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hardhat at. Just don't say that too fast, guys. Hardhat at symbol bluecollarstartup.io. You can find us on Instagram for the post that I put up maybe every 2 weeks. Like I'm going through these fits right now where I'll post like a post and like 2 stories, and then I don't touch it for 2 weeks. So I'm trying to do better, guys.
You can find us on Facebook as well.
Can you find us on Facebook?
Yeah. Well, I've been sharing it.
Oh, your personal profile.
Yeah.
We don't have a Facebook page though.
Yeah.
I'm resisting.
That's fine.
And I'm the marketing guy too, which is hilarious. So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, share the show. Send it to a friend.